So, Abdul Fontin, I'm my name still, and I work inside the office of the President in our State House as a communication strategist. This, of course, na the every Friday program will start at 3 p.m. where we call Talkback. And of course, we know say we use this platform for make Sierra Leoneans able for interact with the presidency and the activities of the Sierra Leone People's Party led government of Sierra Leone. And also we also use as a platform wherein we explain better within the vision of His Excellency the President, within the activities of His Excellency the President, and then within the success stories and even the challenges. And that is why we get this program. And today they can talk about the story of the tertiary education sector under retired Brigadier Julius Madabio as president, and under Professor Alpha Tijan Wuri as Minister of Technical and Higher Education. And of course, the technical and higher education story, where we will just say for short the tertiary education story, will never be complete if you not get them from the horse's mouth. Fonti will come and say all the things, but Fonti is just a communication strategist. Another part of the policy formulation. Fonti not a part of every activity. Fonti does not know every challenge of the sector. Fonti cannot ably tell the success stories other than the substantive minister himself, because as they can normally say, he who feels it knows it, and somebody will tell his story more than any other person. So that is why today we have here the substantive Minister of Technical and Higher Education, winner Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri, well, Professor Alpha Tijan Wuri. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Talk Back.
Thank you very much.
And we don't stop there, because the work of the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education is generally and ensure say things happen at the tertiary education sector. So you get the implementing partners, we are the universities, we are the college representatives is here with us, and are no less a personality than the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone, we are Professor Fode, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So the entire Facebook they watch you right now, and we expect for able to get the story from the horse's mouth. That is why we are here today. So, Prof, without much ado or without wasting time, because this is going to be about you and your sector, you and retired Brigadier Julius Madabio's promises, you and the promises you made to the people of this country. Because I tell you, when I made a promise, I not be the when I be independent journalist, I be day and AYV. So let's start from there. What in when I be promise the people of this country during the time when retired Brigadier Julius Madabio will be the campaign as far as education is concerned?
Well, government can prepare a document or let me say the party prepare a document we call a party manifesto. And in that manifesto, it highlights things that he believes he will attain when he will win the election. And a few of those I can highlight. One, he will say that the education sector will be managed in two fronts, at the basic and senior secondary sector and as the higher education sector. So in 2018, where he win, he don't achieve the first thing we attain, and that is to separate out the higher education from basic education. But in separating out, he look and say there is a major gap in one area that will improve the economic base of this country, and that is to strengthen technical education. So the ministry is called Technical and Higher Education. Remember that the technical is put first because of emphasis we want for make we for improve the level of technical options na the country. That's the very first thing we they had the manifesto commitment. Another thing we expressed was that it would try for make you get tertiary educational services in various regions of the country. And therefore you will see that we'll take the University Act, go to Parliament and add on 2 technical universities and also ask for start to build Cornell University as well. Which means 4 of the 5 regions go don't get the highest tertiary institution, which is university education. The Northwest does not have one yet, and Teacher College Polytechnics is now also being put into all the regions as well. It heightened that if you don't get all regional tertiary services, they inaugurate for be the Chancellor of all of these universities. Again, a manifesto promise that has been fulfilled is that we have now put in men of integrity, men of high academic position for serve as chancellors in all of these universities, which is not the president of Sierra Leone. He also indicates that Boko people are not able to go class, not able to go college because they could not afford to pay. And we for create a scheme that will allow people that may find it difficult to pay to be able to access university as well. So you note a few months back, we'll take the student loan scheme into Parliament, which we hope by next academic year it will be fully operational. Maybe one more thing he indicates is that women are shortchanged in the country, and women of science should be prioritized. So we push towards granting aid for STEM positions, for women in particular, and also for the disabled who had war, we had people that suffered amputation during the war period. We still have the deaf, the blind to be able to handle. Well, the disabled I would also get granting aid support. So these are the 6-7 key issues where a heighten now the manifesto, where as a minister of technical and higher education now, my role is to create the relevant policies, put the things in place to improve the quality of service in the institutions, create them, improve the quality of service, get the right staff, get the right skill mix to be able to get the country on a level wherein we produce those we need to use.
So now generally, Doc Croft, we don't give a clear picture as to what will be the manifesto promises them of His Excellency the President with regards to the tertiary education sector, especially the priority or the emphasis on technical education. So maybe we start with that side there. Because we also in our country, USAI, people they try for create an impression as if the development that is being undertaken by the time that Julius Maada Bio, even though we pride ourselves for say we they fulfill manifesto promises, but then some other people get things where they say the development is focused on certain regions. So technical education being the focus of the tertiary education sector, how have you been able to spread that across Sierra Leone?
Well, I don't want to say me. In 2018, with Professor Bakima as the minister, there were no government technical institutions operational outside Freetown. Remember, in 1964, government will open 3 technical institutes. Freetown Technical Institute, Kisi Technical, in fact, that was Kisi Trade Center, Boroka was another, that in Kenema was another. But in 2001, in creating polytechnics, the government technical institute as Congo Cross was amalgamated with the other institutions to create Milton Magai College of Education and Technology. In the same vein, the Kenema Technical Institute blended with other institutions to create Eastern Polytechnic those times. Now, we have put in place 10 government technical institutes in 9 districts. Kono is the only district that has 2 government technical institutes. In those institutes, we started with a few course options. I would just say construction engineering, which would involve bricklaying, carpentry, electrical work, and things like that. We started hospitality training, those that would serve in various levels in the hospitality industry. We started agriculture, mainframe, because you can't have a country that cannot feed itself, in all of these government technical institutes. And in the Kono ones, we started options in mining. As you know, extractive mineralogy is the mainframe for Sierra Leone economic base. Now, let me give 2 additions that will occur. With Kuwait, we linked up with Kuwait, and we will be getting a $24 million program for us to do 6 other government technical institutes in the districts that do not have one now. When I mean do, construct, equip, and also provide staff that will work in these institutions. Through the Japanese government JICA program of about 4 million, we should be doing automotive engineering, automobile engineering in 4 of these institutions as well. These are just the tip of the iceberg. But at that time, you need a lot more than just the government technical institutes. However, we have also created what we describe as a national qualification framework. By that, I mean we can standardize your output in any subject option that you read. So somebody will graduate from Port Local, somebody will graduate from Kailang, they are the same level. If you're saying a certificate, or if a diploma, or if a higher national diploma. These are things which are not a lot of theoretical work. These are things in which we are going for competency-based education training, in which it's more hands-on. It's more hands-on. In the technical line, for people and for you for see where they can end. That is why we created 2 technical universities. So on going through a GTI, ending with HND, you can always get to a technical university now for a degree program in these options when you get there eventually. So we think under His Excellency, the President, we have started to put respectability to technical options, and we started to work on major advocacy for people and for appreciate that. We're not done there. We work with the World Bank and get $20 million, small amount. We'll get the project is called Skills Development Fund. So apart from those in the formal sector, those that would have dropped out of the system, which is CBET, competency-based education and training, 63 institutions were supported. Yesterday, for example, I went to Makeni for an institution. We graduated 165 people in tailoring, in home management, in other options as well. So what I'm saying is, we are now looking at technical in a holistic way. Those that may have dropped off the system, and those that are in formal higher education institutions. And we've created the last 2 at the end of the line. So eventually you can be able to get university education that is purely technical as well.
Okay, Prof. So now let me go to the governance system, the governance of the tertiary education institutions, because we also get Professor Sa with we. But we will need you for make you able to tell we first, since when President Madabio came in 2018 as President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, what are some of the modalities and way una don't put in place, and way to some extent some people even they think say na magic happen, especially since the time when Professor Alpha Wuri came, because we did a lecturer strike. In fact, the time when you came, there was a lecturer strike. Now you come and with you other people then we look for about that strike day. So waiting now the things we una do and waiting now the things and how is that related to waiting una be promised the people of this country?
Well, I'll start with His Excellency's promise in that he will put weighting on human capital development. Tertiary education, now they give you specialist training from which now you can contribute meaningfully to the job market. Okay, and if indeed his drive is going to be HCD, then for make them not work, for make them they on strike, that would be a difficult one. And really, what happened in 2011, the university people and polytechnic, then we don't negotiate some conditions of service. Then start for pay 2011 and stop halfway. They should have negotiated again 2014. Nobody no look inside. 2018 now will come into governance. We will say come, will say, you know me, the coffers empty, this and that. So we say find it difficult for look at the salary conditions of staff. So by 2019-2020, patients done. For 9 years, 10 years, there is no change in the remuneration at all. People, they don't get promoted, they don't get no new condition for those promotions, and things like that. I think the Academic Staff Association were reasonable in their demand for government for look at almost 100% change from 2011 to 2020. But we still find it difficult for do as high as a 20% change. So my role with the making minister mid-January 2021. Now for make the academic staff first of all know say we respect the institution. Two, we also know say it is their right for ask for make we look at new conditions of service. But no, we not make for pay the body when they ask for. So we agreed on a 50% change, which we did in February, I think, of 2021. They will promise for do another 25% change this January of 2022. I think the Vice Chancellor will be in a better position for confirm. If indeed we don't do this 25% change, we will talk. So we don't do the 50% first. We add now another 25%. You know the good thing about me, why I can join and work with His Excellency the President, because he urge we for say whatever we don't make commitment for, or for attain, or for achiever, we not for make promise, they will make for meet up. So for all sign all the other various conditions, all of these we are fulfilled now, I think, for January 2025.
So now we have the pay salaries and then we have the increased salaries of lecturers and other administrative staff then. But what else have you done with regards to improving the governance of the university?
No, now that's the first part, the strike notice. So since that the strike you can't perforce, now that's make will bring that. Oh, I know take that not to strike party, but generally, a university for, as I say, will give you specialized outputs. A university forgets reasonably equipped laboratories in the science world. Libraries have to be, I won't say 100% information, most recent, but something that you are able to sort and get information from. May I say the students should be able to access lectures. Lecturers should be able to come on time. Lecturers should be able to finish the Senate approved program per academic year. Most of what Professor Fodeza will explain to you are the systems that to put in place to ensure that you are able to complete the academic program. And you know we had the corona as well. Every place, most institutions stopped working for a long period of time. So in 2021, we had what they call abridged academic year, from March to September. we for also tell the lecturer the thing because the first 10 days, rainy season, nobody know who holiday. We teach from March to September and be able to condense the academic year fully. This year now we don't start official time around October, November, but make we hope for done in the official time again, May, June. So although we get Corona way and Bogwi, then the university they work with we for make way for complete the academic year within the period designated. Now we begin look at quality of staff. I go cabinet and His Excellency give me the authority for make way for upgrade first of all. People will get MSc to MPhil, MPhil to PhD, and then give me the authority for it for upgrade 50 each academic year. 50. Then if you look at the budget this year back, then give the ministry the authority for employ 500 in the higher education sector. So maybe University of Sierra Leone will employ 50. We'll take professors from the diaspora, Sierra Leoneans and bring them in. We can start new academic programs here and there. Because we have to expand the course options for the numbers when they come through the school system. You know, the basic education. In 2018, MPK and talk say, you take your equality, left work will spy. By 2019, Tino begins straighting. But look what happened this year, 2021. Look the output. Look the quality of passing. Look the numbers way pass. Prof will talk about how they can manage their number. But we now get for ensure all the universities they operate, all the universities they get the requisite staff, then we have to spread out the course options. So every Pekin has we are just 7 million people. We only have about 30,000 in the system now. We need to double that. If we are going to do well as a country, we need to triple that even. And therefore, our function is to prepare for lecture halls, for labs, for engineering equipment, for agricultural tools, such that that number of students that comes from the basic education, when they get to tertiary education, we go in for produce the skill mix.
What of technology? What have you done?
You have just said it. I've said apart from opening the institutions, now we are trying to see first of all that our students should be digitally exposed. By that I mean it is sad for you to go to college and you cannot even access a computer. And by next academic year, we will try and ensure that a student that gets to any higher education will be digitally exposed. You know, there are lots of course options. If you take like Codisa, that exists, we will need to have a center that solicits information from abroad, decipher that, open it out, and be able to pass on the information to various institutions. Really, I've been here for 12 months, and it is very exciting, I think. I spent 11 years earlier, but I've come back. And I think the team that I'm working with are a team that are not only good, but they have vision of what academia should be. And the vice chancellors and principals within the institutions really helping me in ensuring that we can provide the quality we need for the students.
Alright, so Fambul, the program we watch and listen to talk back. And today we host Professor Alpha Tijan Wuri, we are the Minister of Technical and Higher Education. Of course, after you don't get her from the horse's mouth, no need for summarize. After a professor like Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri don't talk. But again, sometimes, and with all due respect, when politicians talk, some people still get their doubts, although it is so difficult to doubt a politician like Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri, because in that type of a politician where they say things as they are, when I how we don't highlight things, even decide they attempt for getting credit for Usai and also supposed to take credit. They say no, it's still not happening during my own term, not during Professor Bakima and Temi happening. And he's known for that across the country when they attend events, them even commissioning projects. If not during Chijan Kaba in term start, Professor Wuri the talker, if not during UNESCO when he tell in start, in the talk and then they tell them thank you. So he's one clean politician where people know they get doubts over. But that's notwithstanding, he's still a politician. So all the things them way he don't talk so about the tertiary education sector. Make we listen to an academia, somebody we in education and social business normal we know him for. We now Professor Fodesa. Make him tell we, make him corroborate or make him dispute. Because if Dr. Owi don't say something, he's a minister. He gets security, then how they will stop him. But Professor Sa is going back to the university. He is the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone. He will not, well, I don't know if dare na good word for it. He will not dare say anything the governments not do for saying that the governments don't do. So Professor Sa, you've heard from the minister and the whole world they watch you. How can you corroborate the things here where the minister don't say? Is it true that indeed the manifesto promises of His Excellency retired Julius Maada Bio are being fulfilled?
Yes, I can tell you for free. What did the minister say? I want to highlight the items there. Start with the latter. We talk about the increase in salaries of lecturers. Indeed, there was a 50% increase last year, and as promised, this year, the 25% of government promise, it don't reflect by the salaries there. So everybody is happy. All man don't get alerts. People don't get alerts.
So from last year to this year, we're saying 75%.
Exactly.
Because it was 50% last year, and now this year that they don't have 25%.
Exactly.
Wow.
Then with the other areas of quality, the kind they try for prove with the minister, where the former minister and this minister, where then call all the vice chancellors and challenge you with certain things then for in doubling quality to higher education. One of the major things then where they say for try for harmonize student assessment. That one has been done with the University of Sierra Leone. That's harmonized student assessment. Private college do the I can't do the college of person do but now we don't get a standardized assessment so that what thing they happen there and they happen at the other side. Then we review policies. Before this time, some policies they don't say examination malpractice, for example. They will just put the pressure on the student. But now with the policy, with the new policies that we don't do, both the student and the lecturer self will involved, they all will to task. And we don't set examples, we don't dismiss lecturers during this time. We don't dismiss over 200 students for examination malpractice. So we don't review them policy and then lecturers them, so we don't take it to court, so we don't take it to ombudsman or to the school at grounds, and they don't review all the processes they don't say will not do bad at all. And something very, very important, we report across all tertiary institutions, universities. The ministry being actually doing the portal. The portal, as the minister will say, they want everybody go digital. That portal, what the ministry do, we at the University of Sierra Leone, we customize them. We don't customize them, it help we now for do a number of things. I will make reference to the paper. One, it will make sure, say, from the time of application to the time of issuance of acceptance letters, all are digital. So that interface, that one-to-one contact with students will reduce them completely because they're all allocated to corruption. Then the second thing where the portal they help for do fees. Students they pay fees online, and with me, I will left in the office and they know exactly what is happening at all the campuses.
Wow.
And they have access for no, almost they don't collect, almost they don't pay, most they don't pay. I mean, because we make a platform again, they pay your money in tranches, the fees. So if I 3 million you pay, if you don't pay 1 million, I will let them come in office and know see this student don't pay 1 million, now 2 million outstanding for them. So those are some of the things. Then the major thing what the portal they help with for doing again, they help the lecturers then for actually upload the lectures then online. Because the COVID teach you a lot of things. Now the portal wants to improve upon them further. We don't go to the extent to not even construct virtual classrooms 2 have been completed. Now we're in the process of complete the 3rd one. That virtual classroom, lecturer can go, they do live stream. Live stream, they give lectures, so in interface with Facebook and other things there, so the student can actually get the lectures, or alternately the lecturer can record in lectures, they go upload them on the portal. So that is also now an option we are available. Then we also get the option of the lecturer uploading in grade step online, because before this time, from the subject matter lecturer, it sent out to the head of department, from the head of department to the dean. So anything can happen. They can change the grade, you don't get evidence of that. The lecturer the challenge say not to that grade they submit. But now the lecturer they submit in grade online, the head of department is here, but not get power for change them. Then from that, we don't see him, he just rubber stamp him, he send to the dean. The dean said he not get any right for change them. Only possible right for change them. The examiners board meeting said they can get them, they see the grade them. But if the lecturer did, they agree as an examiners board for say, okay, Lord, change this grade here, then they can change, and the exams office said they see the grade them, but the only thing they do is they publish them online, and the students said access in grade online. So everything is online. Therefore, ensure quality. We don't establish the Directorate of Quality Assurance. That directorate and they make sure say lecturers they do what they are supposed to do. Because we don't even establish what we call performance contract basis for both academic and administrative staff. So this Directorate of Quality Assurance actually monitor if the lecturer they teach the course we're supposed to teach, if they don't in syllabus, and if you don't do them, definitely we don't establish punitive measures, because nobody will go free this time around. So there are a number of things that we
so make I just take you on something else. Today how we be there. Now the universities now they be they take care of all of the administrative things then, especially when it comes to salaries to lecturers and other administrative staff. And that has been a very big challenge for the universities then before now, because government they give subvention to the universities, I stand to be corrected.
Sure.
But about that same small money they way when they struggle for take care of the infrastructural development of the university, the technological development of the university. Now they back when they pull back for pay the lecturers them. So it has been a struggle. And most times them once they done, you they see lecturers that they strike or they threaten for strike and stuff like that. So quite recently, about a year or two, the government take over the payroll. Now the government now they pay the lecturers then part of that's why the government they give subvention to the universities. So how has that helped your work? How has that made administering the university easy?
Well, that means a big relief to it, to all the vice chancellors, to all the institutions then, because government they pay all the salaries, the universities then will pay the allowances. The allowances are minimal sum. So if that big one government don't pay, the universities then they get subvention. And also, that is thing for saying the government, the successor the president also challenge you for saying, oh, think outside the box and make sure say we try for raise some money for augment whatever government and we are doing that, okay? So with the fees that we are collecting, some of the institutions then will do projects, research grants, where they collaborate with colleagues them, and that is their research grant and they total report overheads. Their overheads then we can take them, we put them into the university for help for the daily running. So, but the salaries government take over, that has been a very big relief on us.
So we still continue with the program Talk Back, and today we talk back about the success story of the tertiary education sector under Professor Alpha Tijanui as Minister of Technical and Higher Education, and generally under retired Brigadier Julius Madabio as President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. So, you know, these are the things. We then are a country wherein bad news they spread fast than the good news. I bet you majority of Sierra Leoneans no know say this January or so, the government of Sierra Leone under retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio don't add another 25% to the salary of university staff, lecturers and administrative staff. But yes, he has done that. And also Danny Nomo do for more income. It was just last year where the government of Sierra Leone under retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio had 50% by the salary of the lecturers there. So within 1 year, we don't get 75% salary increment of the lecturers there. When you speak about education, because some people can also get a bad talk there. So this education is also in free, but the quality aspect we not see. I mean, this is what we talk about when we talk about quality. Taking care of the welfare of the people there, where they pass their education to the students them. And then, Professor, we also don't talk about the human capital development side of it, that we are even sponsoring the educational pursuits of the lecturers here, so for ensure say they're able to match with the modern trend. So they continue with Professor Alpha Tijanui, because as I don't tell you now, today it's not going to be from me, it's going to be from the horse's mouth. Professor Uri, we can talk about scholarships, because that may also be the forefront of the things that we interpret that Julius Maada Bio promise the people of this country. So they can be. But when you can, your problem then be Boku, when you can meet. You know, some people be even they think say, this Alpha Uri SFO sabi for able to solve education problems there. This if you can not go able. The game don't big now interpret that Julius Maada Bio hand. And the Queen and the one of the issues that they. We Commission of Inquiry SSF type para case day. Like all man type para the Ababi Boku para case day. And you come, we don't know how you manage for solve that problem there, or have you even solved that problem?
Problem of students accessing lectures. Yes. Problem of complete payment of backlog cash. No. First of all, even find to make you know how the institution come about. You see, when government they make arrangements with any private sector, it's always good for make you one get authority from cabinet, two for making table and a parliament, make parliament agree. If indeed the government of Sierra Leone get for pay money in the process. Well, none of that not really happen. We don't get to an unbelievable amount. We be not expensive past all students in our College of Medicine, in Afrabi College, for pay a private institution. We officially we are not even supposed to have any definitive agreement between government and the private institution. Anyway, we make them understand the gaps. We'll make the law officers give opinion quite clearly for say we can extricate ourselves from this completely, because that one post is not government of Sierra Leone. Although when a minister talk, they talk in the name of the government of Sierra Leone. At the end of the day, we renegotiate this whole thing to 50% of waiting government we don't owe. And payments don't start. And the second tranche payments they go on show right now. So the students they don't go back. So, and those students will be done on paper say they get government support. These are the only students who complete to pay for. All other students where they go now, if you are private students, you pay for yourself. Lincoln, however, or Lincoln, the building is used by Lincoln, are buildings built by government of Sierra Leone. In fact, that money in the years ago, women in there as Minister of Education, and it's always we get that money for build those buildings. And the idea for the building entity now for distance education, sort out information on the rest of the world and disseminate to various institutions. So the company will pay a good backlog and all. They have their mandates, what they are doing now, but we might re-engage the administration of institution and see if we can refocus it to waiting government being affordable. In other words, it's like government engaging any private entity to do a particular service for it. So For now, students have gone back, 1,000 or so students. They're working in various technological options, and we are happy with the outcome.
Alright, so you successfully settled that matter there under your tenure as Minister of Technical and Higher Education. Now, make I take you on the scholarship side of it, because the policy pronouncements there in terms of free education or scholarships at the tertiary education level, particularly the promises that His Excellency made, the pronouncements, they be so enormous that people they get doubt. Even though he's called talk and do, even though he's retired with Julius Maada Bio, the president of Sierra Leone, where within 3 years he almost don't fulfill all the manifesto promises them, but people they get their doubts, especially so that tertiary education is not cheap, and across the world it's not free. So people be even they say, with all due respect, what did they do this man? How we just they say and they give scholarship to female students them we want go study medicine, and they give scholarship to the security forces we want for go higher education, and they give scholarship to the disabled them, and they give scholarship to teachers them we don't teach for 10 years and above, 3 of them picking them, and they give scholarship to this category, and they give scholarship to that category. So it was so enormous that even though some of we know the kind love, the kind passion which His Excellency attached to education, we were scared that by 2023 to 2024 elections, how are we going to be able to explain to the people for saying, well, and promise them the Bokuna for that will able to fulfill them. But in the like magic, and we want to hear from the horse's mouth, how have you been able to implement or actualize His Excellency's manifesto promises with regards to scholarship, both at local and international level?
Let me put it this way. The announcements of His Excellency the President, and for try for normalize the differences in accessibility to tertiary institution. For example, science education has to be the mainframe for the 21st century. But I recognize that the bulk of the people who they register for do science are men. And women they always afraid for come up. And in a country with gender-based violence, the women they're not confident, not sure. They want to give them a step up for men and feel confident for come and do science options. So first of all, they say medicine, all those where they opt for that. And all those where they opt for general science as well. And the numbers are coming up. It shows you when you give the right incentive, the people then they go towards it. For you, make kind of college for those science, you get for all the first start school and begin those science. And all of a sudden, the numbers in schools that are opting for science don't really come. And if you look at the results this year, you look at the pass rates, you will see women are matching the men in science, option, physics, chemistry, biology. So, what is the excellence you do first? Now, for make it give confidence to the woman, say, we treasure you like anybody else, and we intend for giving that support. As a ministry, those that apply in science options, all of them have been supported. I think this year the number is quite small, I think 529, and all of them have been supported. Some people did not have faith, as you say, not believe say they're happy. So they're not even apply. So that the one who apply and they will make sense they don't get. Eh? But all those that apply, we are fully supported. That is one. The next category is that
security forces.
The forces. Put it this way, we are talking about 3 groups of people. The army, the police, the prisons.
Yes,
and as a ministry, we give a quota to each of these for them for look through their own system and decide those that they wanted to support. I think this year we were able to support all those from the army, all. But the police, the number that came up with was much larger than the quota we had for the police. So now the police now fully addressed but the army was fully addressed because they sent us names suiting the quota. I'm not saying they will not have other people that they may want to train, but maybe not on the army university. Well, when they get their own workforce and they get their own layers as well. So that's why we are confident that number will go up this year, and they will look through their system and see that the officers they want to develop. And some people do not necessarily have to come to normal university. Some goes to military or police academies and achieve their own training there as well.
So the promise to students whose parents have taught for 10 years and above.
That one they will not reach it. We don't start. Now the numbers. Let us say you have 5,000 teachers that have already taught 10 years and above. Then what we did last year, 2020, we took children of those that have taught 25 years and above and handled them. This year we'll go down to 20 years and above and handle them. 2022 this year, 2022 academic year, we'll go 15 years, and so we are going to get to in 10 years and above by the time you get to the next elections, next 2023. Because if you go for that number, first of all, we had difficulties actually identifying children. You know, without DNA test or whatever, it's a bit Africa, Let's go get that people. So the pruning, the screening, they take too much time and all that. But we don't clear those with 25 years and above, we get picking. In other words, they pad them out, new age them now. Hopefully they're not going to go born back. New one. When the pan go back, say, I mean, born last week, and like the East College. But we are getting there.
Okay.
Now the other one, now we not reach it, we not complete it. Man also will not reach it, we not complete it. But again, we have linked up with the Disabled Commission and say that those that are officially classified as disabled that applied again, we will support them. The problem is, some people tend to go to private institutions, not public institutions. And the private institutions, their fees are 2-3 times that of the public institutions. So we cannot be able to pay those rates. So what I can say government has given approval to do is to give you the resource or pay the institution mark, and Unimark say 50 million. But the highest fee for economics at Fabi College is 5 million. Then government would pay to that disabled 5 million. So we are urging people to go to public institutions where we'll pay 100% the fee, rather than private institutions, which we are not sure what the percentage we will give to you will pay. That is one. Apart from scholarship, I want to recognize that we supported 2,750 among 6,125 that's applied. 2,750
for granting aid.
Granting aid. All these categories I have just said. So we are hitting 40%ish.
Yeah,
and I think that is a good.
And I'm also going to ask about international scholarships. We too many people like you say, like what do not do with regards to that? Because to our credit, we see the level of transparency. First entirely, when international scholarship opportunities they come out. Now pass you in at the party no more. Now you they know. And the other half list the way they pass with. But now we see each and every scholarship opportunity we arise, whether international or local, it's being made public. So apart from these being made public, what are the figures? Which country them way when I don't send Sierra Leoneans them, and waiting at the target, when I just they send them for them to go overseas for go study like that, or when I get like
no, when they advertise, when they go for certain course options that may be difficult to handle locally. Now they only prioritize for send out. And countries they help. China, Hungary, Russia, even the British Commonwealth, then they come through. Now, in fact, we don't take one step. Not all of them come through us. Some of them will even give them the portal, give them the say, apply direct. And if they way they take it, they don't take it. So you know go say, me na this political party, me na this farm board. But whatever happens now, when we sieve through those that would have applied, not really normal in the country now they go select from which you send. So there is no point in me saying, I can take this maybe will get two O level, I send and go. When the country get for go select, you are in a serious one. In fact, what you are doing, you are devaluing the list to the level that they will reduce the quota they give the country if they go send rubbish people then. So
let's talk a little about that. Locally, the selection process, because like you say, it's every that Julius Mother being on process, like you say, we trust the process. So how do we trust the selection process internally here? Like, who that's they interview people there?
If I do in the regions, then the region will have a deputy director. The region would have one of the vice chancellors from one of the institution we did it. The region will have a paramount chief, a local paramount chief. So we will constitute the panel now in the region to do a selection. In the local elections, in the local ones, we do it in every district. So you know when you Kailan, you say you take the scholarship way for go Kaline. No. So that gives everybody an option.
And we even the civil society and anti-corruption.
Forget that. They bring the whole. We'll put civil society there. They want those that talk English with the talk homophobia. We'll put anti-corruption there. So if you say anti-corruption, then the name when they give you, if you don't believe that again, you don't believe that again. So we don't make a quota in each of the districts. We don't get this blend of people. We can look at. Because someone people over there that say the civil society, the anti-corruption, I just confirm say you do based on the criteria, but not so then the education people for prioritize who are good, who are bad, or whatever. Okay, so we don't do that there for the local one. The international ones is done here, but we got people from parts of the country to come and look at the panel at all times, and I think we are doing quite well on those two. Our problem is it's a very expensive issue. Michael say I pay a student for the College of Medicine $10 million, $1,000. You don't go in. If I take a student for go to carpentry, in Russia, I gotta buy the ticket first, $2,000 for go. I therefore pay them $150. I pay them $150 every month. That means I get $1,800 apart from waiting. Russia will don't get as allowance. So you will get 1.8 times 3. If na 3-year course or if na 4-year course, you pay that day. You pay tickets, go pay ticket card. That student is far more expensive, even though you get scholarship, than the student who you train as well. So now we have close to 1,000 people out.
Wow. In
various courses, various options. So it don't become now a burden, because for support that number is huge for salary.
I would say that it's sweet burden because our young government prioritize education.
It is, but we see next thing now where that the linkage will just start with we Labour, Ministry of Labour, and we and the Youth Service Commission, because when the people are done, it's fine for make them for slots into a job immediately. Otherwise, you don't now double resources. You don't waste. So you don't pay high for trainer. Then you can't keep an eye back and not get work on time. So this year we are going to create an institution which is going to be for apprenticeship, internship, and job placement. Okay. The apprenticeship is that somebody you don't have technical options for making those learn for hands-on. The internship is like College of Medicine, you don't done, nursing, you don't done. You therefore go actually work in the workforce before you get your license. You separate out your academic provision and your license. But we need to do that for engineers. We need to do that for other course options. Social workers, that they go out and work before they get license to practice. Okay? The final one, as I say, is job placement, of which the Ministry of Youth has started the Youth Service Scheme, where you don't want to say you go, whatever. But I think we've already got Ministry of Labour, so we know who side the job then.
So, Prof, as we wrap up with you, His Excellency Tertiary Julius Madabio has introduced a program in education, which is a novelty, where during the term where we include them inside in manifesto, and even when it come in first speech where in making a parliament, when saying they introduce the students loan scheme. People were like, but they promise no more. The game go big by you. You know, so it got to that point. And where are we currently, and waiting, how important is this student loan scheme to the people of Sierra Leone?
You know, a country can do well when the people can do well. And the people will get specialized training in tertiary education, and a number will be for contribute meaningfully to the economic growth and development of that country. Education can be hands-on, technical and vocational, or the grammar school type education that we know. What I'm trying to say here is that in this country, the desire for land scientific education is high. Now the opportunity for making for pay for the 9 low. So we are still considered a weak economic country. Therefore, His Excellency been say, make you not be saying that money, make you not able to access higher education. Therefore, I make we don't pass, we don't go parliament, don't develop the whole act of parliament when the Students' Loan Scheme Act. Now, act they say we will constitute a board. The act they say when you lend this money, you will get a guarantor. The act they say they will use your national identification number for a man and track you when you don't. The act they say when you don't say, nobody don't chase you immediately. You go workforce, then you time you be work. Well, you might just take now. You might say somebody with a not scholarship, he take loan. More say he read economics. Now, more say now they pay 5 million for a year. More say do 4 years. That's not 20 million. Now just the tuition fee. Now 20 million you don't take so. No, so we could say then there 2 million more for buy book then. And 22 million that you know so. We will say then I don't know, some allowance for get to college. The whole thing got to 30 million, say. For now, maybe not tuition number loan will start with. But you can add the other loan then. More say that you don't get a 30 million, you don't do. Really, what is 30 million? It is $3,000, is it? It is $3,000. There you done. When 2 years pass, you begin pay. No, so you pay 150,000 for months, 10 years span. You not go and above you. You go married. You go say you go school. You go eat. You not fall on away. Because you run away, they affect the other people. But some family they sign as guarantor for you. If you know they, then I'm going to pay. You see that? When you come, when you could take 10 years, you can continue. But I'm going to pay. You see the difference? Another one back way for look. I could say Kurubola, nurse no day, the teacher no day. If me go for work Kurubola, they go give me remote area allowance, 200,000. You get it? So that means say, I they pay this debt 150 apart from your own salary. Do you see that? So I can use service for loans. I can use cash for loan. So these are all the issues where we think say the loan scheme will be great. I think when they play music, but they're happy. They're happy for the loan scheme. Then when they don't play the music, yes. Say, and this is a scheme we will allow you for technical options, vocational options, and higher education as well. Lower technical options, like the school the whole way we go so yesterday, now 1.5 million. We people are not able to pay. Therefore, they know they go do anything. Do you get that? So really, it should explode access to technical, vocational, and higher education in Sierra Leone.
Plenty thank you, Doc. And let me just wrap up with Professor Fode Sir. we then on a point where the minister don't highlight where he don't narrate the success story of the tertiary education sector. That notwithstanding there are challenges, there will always be those challenges, but we don't use this platform today for talk about the successes, because the challenges are out there already. Now public knowledge, everybody know about the challenges, but most times it is difficult to bring out the good sides. So now make we just end with you, because you said you endorse almost everything within the minister say in terms of the government intervention and the various technical and higher education institutions there. So in wrapping up, let me just ask you this question. How would you compare the University of Sierra Leone, the way MRC they say yesterday and today? So the University of Sierra Leone yesterday and the University of Sierra Leone today, what would you say about it, and how do you see the future of the university under retired Brigadier Julius Madabio as president?
It has been tremendous change, great change, both in quality and look at the unrest as the minister highlighted before this time, the very fact that the salaries have been taken over by government, that is a big relief. And with regards to quality, that has improved. And with regards to courses, new courses have been introduced. We'll introduce more new courses in the University of Sierra Leone because of the numbers who they expect for come from schools for camp. So we did in preparation for receiving them. Private College, for example, we established 3 new faculties. Law, the number will be take before like 100 or so. Now we don't make law don't stand alone as a faculty. This year we take 250. Then we'll get the Faculty of Development and Economic Studies, even as Social Science and Law. Instead, don't stand alone. So in preparation for these numbers, where they come from the schools, instead the number will take, it don't increase this year. Equally so, journalism, that an institute or a department, now instead now a full-fledged faculty. IPAM equally so, we don't create 3 new faculties from one faculty, Faculty of Business Administration. We don't get Faculty of Governance and Leadership. We don't get the Faculty of Business Administration and Entrepreneurship. You know, so then the things that are then with the College of Medicine also, instead we don't decide for open up public health. We get a faculty, a department of public health or department of community medicine. Now want to make them into a full faculty, Faculty of Public Health and Infectious Diseases. We get outbreaks here and there, you know. So this institution now, they don't challenge you now for create necessary manpower for respond to any outbreak we ever come. So that's our responsibility.
So what does the future hold for the tertiary education?
A very bright future. Bright future. Therefore, I mean, they increase the future, they get brighter and brighter by the day.
Plenty thank you to you, Professor Fodesa, we are the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Sierra Leone. And Professor Wuri, maybe you will have a final message of assurance to the people of this country, because even at some points in the interview, I say, although people they trust Professor Wuri, but he's a politician. The other person shut up me. He said, no, he said, whether a politician or not, he's somebody that we can trust. So, waiting at the message of assurance when you go able to left with the people of Sierra Leone with regards to retired Brigadier Julius Madabio as president, and how will that affect the tertiary education sector?
His Excellency clearly what makes this country develop, but not to the mines where we go get, not to the fisheries where we go get. All that will be useful, but all of those require the people to be able to beneficiate all ends in the way we in this country. And therefore, His Excellency say he put a premium on human capital development. Well, for maybe a specialist training, you have to come into a vocation, a technical option, or a higher education institution. And His Excellency want to make every single person believe, say, you can get good quality education. If na money you not get for go college, when the loan scheme starts, go trust and can college. Because the kind of work where you go get, you go in for pay, you not go in for notice that. But he believes that it is the quality that we can get in the higher education that will determine the economic output of Sierra Leone eventually. Go for it. The future is bright. Go for it.
After we Professor Alpha Wuri don't talk done, somebody like me now can only tell you that Abdul Fonti is my name still, and I work inside the office of the President and State House as a communication strategist.